All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Legend of Galactic Heroes, episode 100. The big 100.
We have entered into the echelons of our channel's history. Another show that has breached the triple digits numbers alongside JoJo's and Hunter x Hunter.
And I think Monogatari, but
I think
Monogatari is a complicated
really
one because it's,
I think Monogatari was really close. Yeah. And then My Hero Academia is the other one.
Yes.
So, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
crazy.
We are also in a new year in the show.
So, right.
Hopefully all the terrible things are done because it's not going to be like Year of Blood
We've got the future war cult, Jacob.
Yes, the Fejon War Cult. They are doing their thing, and I'm actually excited about that because that means that they can rear their ugly heads and then get squished, just like Trunit was.
Let's hope that's how it
Let's
goes.
hope. We will hope, and that nothing bad will happen to Reinhard or Marryin Dorf or
their child.
Nope, nothing bad will happen.
There's hope for this galaxy and
that's
the future
right.
of humanity.
Yep.
Because we fought all the wars we need to fight, right?
Exactly.
Right?
Everything is going to be fine. But we have a new development because the previous Kaiser, the kid, he apparently starved to death. But then that does seem kind of weird because the feller that was looking after him was like very concerned with his safety. So I find it hard to believe that he would just let the kid starve. So, but we'll have to get into that and whatever ramifications it has for, Reinhard's empire.
Yeah.
Because that could be bad.
Y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion. All right, okay, so Reinhard and Dorf are married after... it feels right to have it on episode 100.
It really does.
Even though all the things to have on episode 100, have it be their marriage. Finally.
Even though she wasn't introduced at the very beginning of the show, so it's not like it's been 100 episodes they've known each other or anything.
It's been
it was just
a long enough time, though.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, not only that, Enero's returning means that we actually are going to have her potentially in the story more, but I am disappointed that we did not get to see them talk to each other beyond just greeting. And
specifically that the conversation happened, but we just weren't able to see it.
Yeah.
Because that's something that has kind of been established as hey, that really needs to happen. And since they didn't part on the best of terms, even though they still very much cared about each other, we need to see that reconciliation.
Yep.
You can't just have them meet and have it be like nothing ever happened, right? Oh yeah, I know work's busy, so whatever. It's no, they need to talk. Something crazy happened. The last time they talked to was because Kirheis had died, right? That's a big deal. And then on top of that, the episode kind of had a lot of padding kind of with how it was set up. So it's it felt like there could have been plenty of time to have that happen, because little still frames or pauses of characters just not saying much or and
I felt like this episode was a foundational episode to set up the Church of Terra as being the final the final threat to galactic peace in general.
Cool.
But they're probably going to succeed enough on some level that Reinhard will probably die just because it almost doesn't sit right that Reinhard has a perfect live to 75 85 old age kind of setup here.
And given the fact that he's married now, he is reunited with his sister, even though we didn't get to see exactly what that meant and if there was reconciliation or whatnot. I don't think it's something where his health will be a problem.
No.
Right? Because the home front has kind of been taken care of.
All the needs are taken care of. We can launch forward from here. We are going to set up a situation where potentially important subordinates to Reinhard will leave to go into a distant area, then which could leave certain people primed to do something to Reinhard.
And then we also have something that I think is a really cool development of Mittermeier going into politics potentially. Hell yeah. That's that's kind of, I feel like he's the perfect politician because he doesn't want to be, right?
Yeah.
You know,
he's not going to be as competent as Oberstein necessarily, but he's going to be more liked. Now, I think that this is something that honestly Oberstein would do a better job at if you were to compare the two of them. However, I think that as we transition towards a time of peace, it is exciting storytelling-wise to see what happens when a soldier gets removed from the world of being a soldier.
Yep.
That's something I'm excited for them to explore with Mittermeier, because he is probably one of the most interesting characters that is still alive at this point. So I'm interested in that. And then also being a father in the midst of that as well.
Yep.
I'm sure that his wife is going to not like the pull that politics could give to him.
Probably
also,
not.
this is not a confirmation that he is replacing Count Mariendorf. Just that Mariendorf
step in that direction.
Probably prefer that he be the replacement.
Yep.
Now, will Reinhard sign off on that? I don't think it's guaranteed in that regard.
Yeah, because
really, if you did that, that's cool. Oberstein would be unless, Mittermeier had a replacement, which I'm sure, they would find one and stuff like that.
Right, and Mueller's still around, and, all that stuff.
Totally. But still, Oberstein would effectively be the senior fleet admiral. Like, he would feel like the one that is kind of the number one fleet admiral, whereas in the past, there was almost this vibe of that the three of them,
we're like
Oberstein, Mittermeier, and Ruenthal were kind of equals.
Yeah.
Like you definitely felt the idea of the two of, Ruenthal and Mittermeier were like, they were a unit and closer.
Yeah, and more front lines kind of stuff,
And Oberstein was more backline kind of stuff.
Right.
But you didn't feel like that any one of them was the superior fleet admiral.
Exactly.
But you could go into that dynamic a little bit if Oberstein was the only one of the original three left as fleet admiral.
Right. And I'm very curious. I feel like it would be very entertaining to see Oberstein and Mueller just interact together in that kind of space.
Right.
Because Mueller is such a good boy, but like Mittermeier at the very least still has like the kind of that a bit of a brash side to him and like the, very, very emotionally like driven kind of person.
Right. Calling out Oberstein along with Bittenfeld immediately.
Right. That kind of thing.
In the wedding, yeah.
Whereas like Oberstein and Mueller, I have no idea how it would work. Like,
I think actually Mueller is probably one of the more
like level-headed
people in that I think he would be able to look at Oberstein more objectively than someone like even Mittermeier would.
Right.
So
yeah,
I'm just more curious to see like who would be Mittermeier's replacement? Bittenfeld? Like God, like
no,
like Mecklinger maybe?
Yeah.
Like, Mecklinger's
Mecklinger
probably got the best track record of any of the high admirals.
Mm-hmm. Like,
I think,
Kessler kind of has a very important position already.
He's got extra stuff, and that's a part of the other thing with Oberstein. Oberstein is also the minister of military affairs, so that you kind of have to be careful about consolidating too much power.
Yeah.
But I am excited about that discussion with regards to power when it comes to the Kaiserin.
Yes,
because we had set up with the stuff going on with the remnants of the alliance and stuff like that. Now, newly christened with their new nation name and what have you.
Isilon Republic.
Republic, yeah. They want to insert some ideas potentially into the Empire.
Yep.
And this could be the avenue through which that discussion gets brought up.
Right.
Is the idea of, wait, what kind of autocracy are we if we have a co-ruler of any kind? Right?
Like it's something where now that Reinhard has an heir on the way officially and is, married to Mariendorf, that question does need to be answered.
Are we going to restart the nobility bloodline-based passing of power through lineage? I don't think they really want to do that.
Yeah, no.
That's what they essentially rebelled against.
Right. So if you're not going to do that, then you need to establish something else.
Because essentially by whoever the Kaiser would choose to marry is getting a not bloodline-based passing of, power, But the Kaiser would then essentially
their
give,
status gets elevated like
a
crazy.
huge elevation of power to a specific person and their family, who would be essentially the nobility of the Kaiserin and the Kaiser.
And you had that one guy like mentioning to Count Mariendorf, like, hey, you're the father-in-law of the Kaiser. Like, so it's got to feel pretty good, right?
You got to come to a decision on this rather quickly.
Oberstein's immediately like, what?
I sense corruption.
Yeah, I'm watching you. Like, we had this conversation. Don't you
give me a reason.
Right.
See, the thing is that Oberstein is one of those characters that I feel so like stubborn about the idea of seeing him in a good light because of how much the admirals have started to become biased, or no, have continued to hold on to the bias against him. Because of how he worked with people like Lang.
Yeah, it's something where Oberstein can definitely make mistakes, and that's where we maybe have to worry about him a little bit. But he is hyper competent, so that won't happen too often.
Yeah.
But as far as like his loyalties and things like that, no. He is a machine basically, and you've got a machine on your side. That can be a very comforting thing.
Yeah.
You might not necessarily want him to rule a lot of the political structures of things, right?
Yeah.
But you got a machine on your side.
Yeah, exactly. The way in which he, I would say rather rudely, interrupted the wedding to basically remind everyone, I'm fulfilling my function.
Right.
You guys should do yours as well.
Right. As much as we can celebrate this thing, it's a he's kind of giving pushback to the notion even of it going back to the way of the nobility where it was more about parties and things like that, right? Yeah. Which you could easily get suckered into because, well, in this case, it's totally harmless and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But and the idea of him saying, hey, the Kaiser doesn't need to, do anything in particular in response, but it is his decision. I'm doing my job of passing it to him.
I'm reminding you all that to him and his will, you ultimately don't have anything.
Right.
So one of the things that's rather, I would say, fascinating about this is that the Kaiser has unwittingly, potentially created the air of nobility for those here in this room.
Sure.
There is a specific set of people that were invited to this wedding. Odds are all those people are part of the upper echelons of the government.
Yeah.
Odds are.
Yeah.
Reinhardt doesn't have many friends, really, in that regard.
And I'm sure there would be all kinds of potential dangers if you were to have it be like some massive public wedding where,
of course,
millions of people are in some thronging crowd.
No
below.
way that they would do that.
Yeah.
And also, they don't want to create a higher, lower kind of dynamic even more with the citizens. So, in this case here, or they're like, this party, this is so perfect, this is wonderful. Oberstein's reminding them, no, this is ultimately a formality. It is a contract that is being signed between these two. That's why, in almost a weird way, of all the things to be rushed, there was no romance or pomp or what have you to the signing of the ceremony and what have you. It was just a guy declaring they are now husband and wife.
Right.
And he was freaking shaking in his boots.
That was like,
pissing himself.
Yeah, like that was.
I got a very slight worry. It's because he was a potential Church of Terror assassin or something. Yeah.
But
he was like, I don't really think I can do this.
Right. But then there was the whole thing of Reinhardt being like, chill, man, you're not the one getting married. It's like, oh, that's right.
Yeah. So
okay. Yeah. This is actually the simplest wedding that could probably ever happen. And that was probably also something that they both did. It's like, okay, we could write vows, I guess, or we could just keep that stuff private between the two of us, and then just
let's tell those to each other on our wedding night. Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
the idea of calling each other by first names, and it's like, oh, sure, yeah, and then it's like narrators they went back to calling each other,
and they did not do that.
Right.
Now, on the Church of Terra side of things, Deville has concocted a scheme by which they had someone replaced. That was clearly not the Archbishop or the Grand Bishop.
But they did a pretty good job of making it seem like the Archbishop or the Grand Bishop.
The Grand Bishop, The Grand Bishop is dead. He's
totes dead.
Deader than dead is dead.
But they got a good actor, made him look a particular way, and hey, there you go, right?
Yeah. I'm looking for the image we have of the Grand Bishop.
There he is,
Very clearly
different. Yeah.
not him.
Mm-hmm. But
I'm just double, triple checking.
Yeah, very different.
Extremely different.
Yep. Like
now you can definitely tell primarily because of things like the cheekbones and stuff. But he looks pretty old and gross and
right.
close enough that if he's doing a good job of mimicking, like, you know, the voice and stuff, then the believers who are already drugged up and, you know, in the head, they you know.
And given how long it's been, you know, a lot of them might not, like, since they're not any, like, none of them seem to be like archbishops or whatever. There's a very good possibility that they only saw him from afar or, like, you know, a few times, right? Like they did say that he would usually read to them like every day or whatever, but you know, if there's a ton of people that he's reading to, how close are they actually going to get?
Yeah. But okay.
Yeah.
The way that DeVille referred to Marryin, though, of all the people in this story that I will not stand for dying, Marryin, no one
you
better
don't do
touch
that.
her.
You don't do that.
I swear, that beautifully like coiffed mullet is going to remain on her head.
Yep. And
even for her freaking wedding.
Yep, exactly. It is an immutable truth of this universe, and nothing bad is going to happen.
Nope.
Absolutely
nope.
Nothing. If anything, maybe they'll try something, and then Bittenfeld will go in and, you know, do
unleash
his thing.
His manhood on all of them.
Right. Yeah.
Thrust his Black Lancer into all of them. Yeah. Now, I gotta say though, this episode being very slow, not a lot happening here, telling us basically these are the primary players on the Empire and you know, Church of Terra side of things.
Yeah.
I really want to know then what's the role that the Isolon Republic is going to play, because I can see them playing very little of a role.
Yep.
But
you
gotta have some way to end the series here,
right?
Like,
because this is a long series. It's been going on for a long time. 100 episodes. That's a lot of episodes.
Yeah.
10 episodes might feel like a lot, but for a show this big, that is a lot less than it seems. And I would be surprised if the kind of pacing that we had for this episode was maintained to the end of the show. I don't think that would be enough. I don't think you'd be able to do all the things that you need to do in order to resolve it in a satisfying manner.
Yeah.
So, you know, we've set up the next conflict. Cool. But, like, what's that gonna entail?
Yeah, I'm a bit worried about the structure based on this episode's and its decisions that were made in there. But
if it is able to be resolved quickly, that's not going to be because a bunch of characters are going to die or anything, right? Like, please.
No, definitely not.
Yeah. No.
It's
It's all going to be fine. It's gonna take a small amount of time because the Church of Terror is going to get wiped out, and it's going to be no problem.
Right. But in every age, every era,
the
needs of men
remain the same.
So, y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.